Great, awesome. So we've spoken a little bit about your. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, hi, hi. Yes, we are back. We are back. Don't worry, don't worry. Hi, guys, and welcome to the Career Coach podcast. This is a show where we talk to some really cool people who have done some very interesting degrees and had some very interesting career paths. Today, we're talking to Ipshita. Ipshita was in Kendriya Vidyalaya for a big part of her life. And after that, she decided to do computer engineering, one of the most employable degrees, in my opinion, from the Cummins College of Engineering. She is now working as a software engineer in the Union Bank of Switzerland. Thank you, Ipshita, for being with us and telling us about your academic journey.
Thank you for having me.
This is a student administered program. Our aim is to offer information from other students who have recently graduated. None of this information is to be taken as advice. Nobody in this video or in the team is a guidance or career counselor, nor are we experts in the fields which we have chosen. We do not intend to look down on any career or academic path and hope these stories will be taken in the spirit in which they were said. Our experiences are personal and cannot be universally applied. We hope this video is helpful to whoever watches it and it equips you with some relevant insights. Enjoy.
So, just before we start, do you want to tell us about how you decided to make the decision to study software engineering? Was it something that was highly encouraged by parents?
I wouldn't say highly encouraged. I think engineering just happened because my initial plan after 10th was to go for film direction. And due to some circumstances and some things that happened, the only stream that was available in my school was science. So instead of going for arts and then going for film direction, I decided to go for science. And I got
Correct,
interested in computers. So
correct.
it just took off from there.
You just, in your 11th and 12th grade, because you weren't able to take arts, you just randomly found joy in coding and in computers.
Yeah, I mean, I did not mind taking science. I was good at science as well. So that was not an issue for me. It was not a burden for me, as some would call it. So I was okay with science as well. And then I just started developing a lot of interest in computers, that subject specifically. So then I decided to go ahead with it.
Awesome, awesome. So you took science, and obviously, to become an engineer, you have to have taken the science stream in 11th, 12th. But apart from that, can you tell us a little bit more about the preparation that is done in 11th and 12th? Probably entrance exam prep, etc., that needs to be done.
So basically, for computer engineering or engineering in general, you need to have physics, chemistry, and maths as your optional. Physics, chemistry are compulsory subjects for science, but maths is an optional subject. So you need to have maths as part of
Correct.
your subjects for that. And regarding coaching for entrance exams, I did not coach because the decision to give JEE, I decided to give JEE very late. So I did not coach, but I did realize when I was preparing for it that it is much better if you get coaching. What coaching really does is it helps you develop that mindset of solving competitive, uh, you could say competitive exams, because
Correct,
there's a
correct.
knack of writing board papers and there's a
Absolutely,
different knack of
absolutely,
solving competitives.
absolutely, absolutely. Can you tell us a little bit more about the specific entrance exams that are required for engineering?
So, engineering, there is a common exam called the JEE, which is the Joint Entrance Exam.
Correct.
And in Maharashtra, some colleges also consider CET exam. So,
Correct.
apart from these two exams, these are the main exams, JEE being like the main exam.
Yeah, correct.
BITS, BITS, Pilani, or BITS colleges have a separate exam called BITSAT. Most of the colleges now actually just look at JEE and CET.
CET. Of
Unless
course,
unless
CET
you're
is
like,
very Maharashtra specific. But yes, that's an extremely important exam that is taken in our state at least. Awesome. So, can you tell us about the subjects that they test in JEE? Is it your 12th standard portion only? What else is done apart from that?
JEE is actually divided into two exams. There's a mains and an advanced. So
Correct.
JEE subjects are physics, chemistry, maths, and so are CET subjects. They're physics, chemistry, maths.
So you gave your JEE, and after that you joined engineering. Did you always know you wanted to do computers, or was it a decision that was made along the way?
I think I decided that if at all I end up, since now I am in science stream and the only two options we see for the first time in science is either engineering or MBBS, like that. That's the
Correct.
only two options
Correct.
that come to your mind instantly.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I knew bio was not my thing. So when I decided for engineering, I was pretty sure that it'll be only computer engineering, and this I decided by 11th standard.
And did you make that decision to do computer engineering in your first year itself? And do you have to pick like that, or can you switch to mechanical or civil midway?
So the thing is that when you give your JEE exam, you have to give a preferences of colleges that you would like to admit to and the course you would like to admit to. So I did
Correct.
select computer engineering for pretty much all the colleges that I had applied for. But yes, engineering, the first year of engineering is a common year. So you get to learn about all fields of engineering. Like every other field of engineering is actually your subject. So a
Correct.
mechanical engineer and a computer engineer in the first year have the same syllabus. That is how
Oh,
it is. And eventually after the first year, if you feel like the domain or the branch of engineering you chose is not correct or you're not liking it, there are some colleges that allow you to change your branch depending on
I
the
see.
CGPA or the performance, and that is specific to every college. But yes, there is a provision of changing your branch after the
I
first year.
see. After your first year, you are required to choose if you want to be an ENTC engineer, if you want to be electronic engineer, if you want to be a mechanical engineer, if you want to be a civil engineer, if you want to be a computer engineer. So then, what are your subjects? What are the subjects you do in, say, your second and third year? And are you okay? First that, and post that, do you pick even a further specialization into computer engineering? Because I'm sure there are many different types of computer engineers in the world.
Right. So, what the way this entire engineering system works, and from what I have been able to understand, is that second year onwards, you get subjects of your specialization. So,
Hmm.
but they will not directly introduce all the latest topics to you because that will become really burdening. They need to first establish a foundation. Not everybody who takes computer engineering has computer science as their subjects in 11th, 12th. So,
I see.
it's very important as a course for them to start from fundamentals of coding and logic building and reasoning
Hmm.
for the entire process. So the second year was pretty much subjects of second year are pretty much what can I call that? They're based on developing your foundation. Then
Hmm.
third year onwards, the codes are introduced. Other complex concepts of computer engineering or software programming are introduced. And the final year, then it is more about what is happening in the current world regarding computer engineering. What are the new technologies or languages coming up or concepts coming up? But every semester, I think post third year, every semester you get two optional subjects that you are allowed to choose, one or two optional subjects. So at that time you can decide what is your liking. I was not very fond of computer networks as a domain, or I was not very good at it. So every time an optional came to me, I did not choose anything that was closer to that, and I chose something that was more closer to algorithms or logic building or solving computing basically.
All right, makes a lot of sense. Firstly, again, I want to ask you. So, yes, you can pick specializations, and from what I understand from what you're saying, coding is sort of at the core of a computer engineer or a software engineer. Would I be right in saying that?
You really need to know the logic of coding. So, not the
Hmm.
language, but the logic. You need to
All right.
know that if this is a problem, how can I break it down to the simplest step? And then, given the computer language that you have, you need to figure out the language is just syntax to implement your logic. It's just a format to implement your logic. So, language can differ, but you need to have the understanding that a machine has to understand really basic instructions, and everything has to be told to a machine. So that logic building of the code or the
Hmm.
problem, that is more important than learning coding itself.
So, about your degree, is a degree in software engineering very intensive in the sense, are you able to do extracurriculars if you want? Are you able to be part of different clubs? Are you able to do extra courses, extra internships, etc., etc.? How is the course in terms of its intensity?
It really is a very subjective question, I would say, because those who want to do it will find the time to do it. I was involved in all sorts of extracurricular activities right from second year. I was in the student panel in the second year, so I was doing all sorts of management stuff. In the third year, I decided to try dramatics, for the film director part of me. So I was in my drama team, and that drama actually takes up a lot of your time. You think it's very easy to put up a play, but that's really it. There's a different level of dedication involved there. And
Yeah.
then final year, I was again back to the student panel.
Yeah.
So it really depends on how you manage your time.
So can you tell us about the process of placements and the kind of job avenues that open up for you after a degree in computer engineering?
So computer engineering specifically is pretty much present everywhere. Like there's every company in the world right now is moving towards digitization. So we are in the need of computer engineers to either help a company get to that level or to
Correct.
maintain whatever that particular company has
Correct.
built on its digital platforms.
Correct.
When it comes to placements or the job roles, I would say you are every company has a different role, or the name for the role is different for but eventually the underlying thing is that you are a software engineer.
But just to get a little bit more into the kind of companies that hire. So I know for a fact that computer engineers, they like a dream company would be like a Google or an Amazon Web Services, or Microsoft probably. Those are obviously the dream companies that people look at. There are also international banks, like you are working at a bank right now. But there is also other IT companies like your Wipro, Mindtree, etc. Would I be right in saying that?
Right.
So can you just tell us a little bit more about the kind of companies that are available for somebody who does a degree here?
So if I were to classify it in make a broad classification, there are two types of companies that you usually come across. One is the product based company and one is a service based company.
Correct.
So product based company is nothing but a company that actually makes or builds a product or a software and gives it to the customers, whereas a service based company makes the product or the software with respect to the requirements of a particular customer. So the software I make for customer A will be very different for the one that I make for customer or client B. Whereas a product based company like Google, the Google website is going to be common for anybody who uses it. It's going to be the same website. So these are the broad aspects. But from what I have seen during my placement time, there were a lot of banks that are now moving towards digitization. So we had like so many banks coming in for recruitment of a placement.
Further, I mean, now there is obviously these career options, but there is also something that I think is really interesting. And because we are moving towards a gig economy in general, like our country and the world internationally, we are moving towards a gig economy where more people are self-employed and more people are working for themselves. And instead of being under a contract of service, they're doing freelance contracts and they're doing freelance work, so they can work with multiple companies, and that is working for a lot of the people in our generation, so to speak. So have any of your friends gone the freelance route, and if so, then what exactly are they doing?
So a couple of my friends did try freelancing, absolutely. And when it comes to computer engineering, sometimes you are restricted to thinking that computer engineers can only freelance in web designing or in app designing. But there are a lot more aspects to freelancing when it comes to computer engineering. You could be designing websites, you could be designing user interfaces for companies, you could be working on your own terms. A computer engineer who's freelancing can also be somebody who's just having the liberty to choose what project he wants to work on. So there are a lot of small projects that are there that are in need of computer engineers that are going to pay you on, say, hourly basis or whatever code you do. And you can apply to that team and you can tell them, okay, this is my specialization, this is the time I can give, this is what I can do. And then they hire you in that project. So it need not be a web development. It need not be you specifically, going and making saying that, yeah, I'm a freelancer, I make websites. No, it could be just that I want to work independently in this particular project.
Yeah.
So I'm approaching you.
Just lastly, just about further studies. If somebody wants to do software engineering, obviously there is a lot of self-learning that goes into it, I'm sure, because there are new languages coming out. I know Python is all the rage right now. AI is all the rage right now. I mean, if I've heard of it, it's entered mainstream news. But so the ability to do self-learn, the ability to learn by yourself is critical to this field. You have to be dynamic, I'm sure. But also I want to know, in terms of actual degrees and specialization courses, etc., that are available in the market, in terms of by universities, by institutions, by even online platforms, how are they relevant and how important are they in your field?
So higher studies, I would say, is definitely a very subjective choice. There are people who go and do Masters of Science, which is MS, abroad. There are people who want to take up MTech, computer engineering, within India or anywhere else. And there are some people who want to take a very different field and altogether do MBA after engineering, which is also
Yeah.
quite...
It is very common, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very good degree to have for better packages.
Yeah. In terms of employability, as we've spoken of.
Yes. So
Yeah.
when you talk of higher studies or the universities and everything, it really depends on what you are looking for.
Yeah.
There are a couple of good universities. I haven't really you could say researched a lot yet, because I'm trying to still test my waters and see what I like before I actually end up investing into a higher degree. So MS, MTech and MBA, these are the three most commonly done degrees after engineering, and it depends on what has interested you all throughout your graduation degree. So there are people who are doing masters in artificial intelligence. There are people who are doing masters in data science. That's basically analyzing the data and finding patterns and trying to predict what could be the next outcome. That's another. Data analytics and data science is another upcoming field. And some people actually end up doing masters in cybersecurity and other computer network cybersecurity and all as well, provided that the institution you're applying to has those courses. So what people usually do is they take out a list of the preferred universities they want to go to, and then the two things they check is the course they want to look for, the syllabus of the course, and how feasible it is. And accordingly they take their further they take a further decision of either doing it or not.
Before we close, just I want to know a little bit more about your current job and what exactly it looks like to work in Union Bank of Switzerland, and what exactly you do on a day-to-day basis.
So I'm a software engineer. I code. Whatever problem comes to me, I try to code and solve the problem that comes to me. So being a part of the service industry, actually, a lot of my coding and everything, or the work I do on daily basis, depends on what the client needs or what are the requirements that come into my team, and where is there a need for me to look into. And at this moment, I am very new in this corporate world or in the entire field of computer engineering. So I have not restricted, or you should ideally not restrict yourself to working on a certain technology or a certain language. You should pretty much be open to being put anywhere all throughout the project to get a better idea of what you like eventually. So I sometimes I work on the front and I'm making the website. Sometimes I'm running back and looking at the data and trying to fix it. Sometimes I'm just trying to get that entire application on running for all the clients. So it's every day is a new day. Every task is very different. But it's all, it eventually comes down to coding. I code.
You code.
I code.
And yeah, in one word, if you had to explain what you do, you code. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ipshita, for talking to us and for telling us about your journey. I think computer engineering is incredibly cool, and we are so lucky to have you talk to us about it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We are going to put Ipshita's LinkedIn in our description below if you would like to get in touch with her and find out anything else. I'm sure she's quite sweet and she'll be willing to respond to you. Awesome. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.